Hello and welcome to GlitchCube, we're a gaming podcast, and each week we take a deeper look into the art of video games. As always, I'm Christian.
And I'm Chris.
And welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us once again as we dive further into the world of games. And as you can probably tell by my sultry voice right now, obviously it sounds like milk and honey, right? Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm so sick. But it's not going to stop us from recording here. It's not going to stop us from talking about games and all that good stuff and everything in between. But it might stop me from talking too much, which some of you guys might appreciate. So yeah, here you go. It's your break from me. Just kidding.
I know. I feel like there's some episodes where it's like, oh man, it's not that I don't talk. It's just more like, sometimes I kind of just get so like, I don't know. It's like I forget to chime in. Like, I'm like, I'll just listen to you talk for a second. But
it's all good.
Yeah, so I feel like, it's kind of perfect because I've been playing so many things to an extent, even though it also, when I look at it on paper, like what I've played, I'm like, that's it. But so I'm working on a lot, playing through games, right? There's definitely ones I'll talk about soon because I'm like halfway through a couple games, but one game that's kind of overtaken my kind of interest, mostly because, so I mentioned this in our other podcast, but I go to the library. It's very easy to do because of kids, but the library closest to me is the only one in the area that has games. And
I still think that's amazing. Like, it's free games. That's crazy.
And like, so they have from the Wii and up. There's not many Wii games, but the Wii games they do have is like Resident Evil, right?
That's awesome.
And they have like a few 360 games, but a big chunk of what they got is mostly Switch. I would say they probably have like 60 Switch games. And then they got PS4, PS5, Xbox One. And, they have the newest stuff. Like they have Resident Evil Requiem. They have Saros. They have like stuff from this year. Right, Crimson Desert, and I've been waiting to get the Indiana Jones game. I should just put a hold on it because I didn't realize people from this whole county can put holds on stuff. So I'm like, okay, I just need to do that because I'll never run into it in the library. But that's how I played Stellar Blade recently, and this time around I was looking and I saw a game that I've been really wanting to play. And that game is Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. So, people that don't know, this is a prequel to Tears of the Kingdom, kind of. And it's like Dynasty Warriors, right? So it's you versus many enemies. And as someone who grew up loving Dynasty Warriors 3 and the XL version with a huge passion, I think I love that game more than anyone I've ever met. Because I would create my own stories in my head when I played it. I would replay it so much. I would love to crank the difficulty, or I would like to make it difficult on myself and let them overtake my outpost, and then I come back and reverse it. But this game, it's a little different. You can't really do that too much in this game. But I have not really played Dynasty Warrior games past maybe 5. And then the only spin-off game I ever played was a Gundam one, which was really good. But that's about it. So when the previous game, Age of Calamity, came out, I was curious about it, but I heard so many people get mad that the story, wasn't really canon and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to play a game that's not canon to that story. So when this game got announced, it's like, yep, this is what happens in the beginning of Tears of the Kingdom. So the story is, in the beginning of Tears of the Kingdom, Link and Zelda are going down the staircase and they see Ganondorf, kind of like frozen in time. Right. And, when they get close to him, like the energy starts going off. And this is basically how Link gets his arm and stuff like that in Tears of the Kingdom. But there's a part where Zelda falls into an abyss. And basically that's what happens. In that fall of the abyss that she's, going down, she goes back in time. Back to when, before Ganondorf really had a lot of power. And, you're seeing the King of Hyrule, Rauru. You're seeing the Queen of Hyrule. And in Tears of the Kingdom, there's like the dragon tears or whatever, where you can kind of see the like snapshots of the past.
Yeah,
basically.
those are my favorite parts. Like the Inca drawing lines, or like the mount. That was my favorite part of that game. I love
that. And this game, those scenes from that are in here, and you're playing that story.
Oh,
so it's really cool to actually see the storyline that was just told in little cutscenes fleshed out. And there's a lot to this game. A lot more than I thought. So, like I said, I hadn't played many modern Dynasty Warrior games, so I don't know like how many of this are more in the newer stuff. I have played Origins, and I know that there's quite a lot of improvements to that. But even this feels different than that. And, just like Tears of the Kingdom, you have the 3 tiers of the map, right? The depths, Hyrule, and then the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, you play a couple missions, and it becomes where everything is corrupted. And you have to cleanse it basically by doing a battle. And then you own that territory. And then after a while, it becomes contested, and you got to fight back. Super easy to beat. It takes a couple minutes. Like, it's not a headache.
So capture the flag mechanics, but corruption.
It's defend. Yeah. If you're doing the territory, it's like just go clear these outposts, which is pretty easy. And then defending, it's like, just beat these 2 big guys coming your way. So it's not super invasive like other games can be. But, you start off controlling Zelda, who she plays pretty well. You have your special moves that switch between like your normal attacks. Your specials are like a lunge or like an air attack that are made to counter big enemies' special moves. It'll knock them on their butt, and then you can just break their shields down and hit their weak point, and then it's done. But you also get the Zonai equipment, right? It's like the flame breathing, the ice breathing, bombs, rockets, stuff like that you can use as well. And you have your little battery gauge and stuff like that. And basically that's what you do. You start off on a point, you're taking over outposts, and then you get to like the boss of that map, if you have one. Most of the main missions the maps are huge, right? There's many outposts. If you're doing like supplemental missions, it's usually, they're kind of small for the most part, which I like. They're not trying to throw these huge, grand 40-minute battles at you for every battle. Mm-hmm. A lot of these you can do probably within 10 minutes, on normal difficulty. I don't know about higher, but on normal, it's like 10 minutes for a normal mission. If you're doing like a main mission, those are about 30 to 40 minutes. But they make these battles really interesting, and I don't know how to explain it. I think like I was so used to Dynasty Warriors where you still had your little army men around you, and you kind of do in this game, but it's not as much. Instead, you gain like other main characters to join you, right? Okay. So when you're Zelda, you can have like King Rauru and oh god, I forgot her name. It starts with an M. It's not Minerva.
Is it less like small troops and more like hero-based Dynasty Warriors, right?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. So like you get to fight alongside the
soldiers.
Heroes. Okay, there are still some soldiers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's cool is like, for the most part, when you start out, you have these 3 characters, right? The third one is she's like the librarian archivist for the King of Hyrule. And her specials are like where she gets these huge constructs. So she's like stomping on the enemies and running them over.
Oh, cool.
And the cool thing about this is you can order these other heroes to different places on the map. So you can either have them kind of follow you and help you take down enemies, or if you want to finish these maps quick, you can send them to another outpost and they're going to go over there. And it's not like they're going to clear it on their own. They'll do some fighting, but it's more like they're there for you to switch to. So say you're Zelda taking over an outpost, you sent Rauru to another one. You completed a Zelda, you just press down on the D-pad, boom, you're King Rauru now. You can overtake that outpost. You do it, mission's done.
Got it.
So you can kind of, strategize, send people to different areas. If you think there's a hidden item or a Korok somewhere, you can send them on a different part of the map so you don't have to waste your time, as you can just switch between these characters. There's also sync attacks, so if they have their meter filled, two characters can attack together. There's other special moves where you press like the A button and it uses like a more powerful move. And there's different elements, right? Enemies can be muddy, so you want to use water on them. If they're iced, you use fire. If they're on fire, you use water as well. And the elementals play really well together. Mm-hmm. And then as you play, there's way more heroes that you can get. And you can recruit some from missions. So you'll get missions where you'll see like a shadow head. And that means, you can have a new person join you. And so it's not just Zelda as the main character. There is another kind of like main leading character in there who is special to this game. And, this character is shown very, kind of early in the game. It's like a few missions in. Mm-hmm. But this character is basically this version of Link. So if you like kind of the way Link plays, this is that. Though you can't switch different weapons, so you can do one hand, two hand sword, spear. This character is versatile. And because this character is a construct, you can have more Zonai equipment on you, and you can have the specials work a different way compared to, say, Zelda doing it. And he has a little Korok buddy who deals more with elemental attacks, so he's good for that. You have a Zonai fan, so you can amplify these elemental attacks. And the people that he recruits, because I noticed with Zelda, there's not many missions you do to recruit a character, but this construct does. And it's cool because then there's some missions where the construct, you have all these heroes that you've recruited will be on the map. So there'll be like 6 or 7 heroes, right? Cool. And you send them all out in different areas. And it's kind of cool. I wish that the other heroes would actually clear out like an outpost without you having to warp there, but I'm still happy with the way it is because it just makes these somewhat long missions a lot quicker. But all these characters play pretty differently. Yeah. You have the bird types that have the arrows and stuff like that. You have the Zoras with the spears. It's a very dynamic game, and there's quests that you do with items that you pick up, and then there's just so many systems in this game that just really blend and work well together. And I'm loving this game.
It sounds super awesome. I'm curious about the story side of it all, because a lot of the times with these Dynasty Warrior style games where it's just kind of mob after mob after mob, you get fed a little bit of dialogue in between each one of the levels to kind of be like, oh, Nobunaga is attacking the fortress again. We need to send our troops out, right? Like that kind of thing. But that's Dynasty Warriors. Is there a overarching change in environment as well as updating of story that makes it feel like the game's progressing, or does it feel like same level layouts and then maybe new enemies?
So when I was talking about the map that gets corrupted, a couple missions in, Ganondorf makes an appearance, and basically the whole story that's kind of explained in Tears of the Kingdom happens in this, where the shades become the Bobo goblins or whatever, those little creatures. So the map changes from normal color to red, And it's definitely like almost as if the Crimson Moon is always out. And the stages are actually pretty varied. I would say like each territory kind of has its own map, and there's many different territories. So, it's not like you're going to be battling on the same map 20 times.
Okay.
It is varied enough where I don't feel it if they are the same, but they're not the same. You battle all across Hyrule. You battle, the depths for the most part. I think from when I looked, because I was curious, I'm about halfway through the game, main story mission wise, and the depths, I barely have explored down there, just because there's not a whole lot to do yet for me. There is stuff in the sky as well, and one cool thing that doesn't happen too often, it's more like in the main story missions, but there's a moment where you're doing almost like a Star Fox kind of mission. So you're flying and shooting and using power-ups. And it's basically Star Fox, but, in a Zelda world. And it works so damn well. It's so cool. Like, I really love those stages.
It's a nice little hint that Star Fox is coming. We had the hint a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because this game only came out last year, and I feel like it came out and not many people spoke about it because, they see Hyrule Warriors, they're like, it's just a Warriors game. Like, it's not going to be too great. But the story is like, it's really fleshed out. Like, the long cutscenes of the story, it adds to it. Like, to me, it's almost like a perfect companion piece to Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know if I would say, play this game first because it is a prequel, but I feel like you can get a lot out of this game and go into Tears of the Kingdom. Even though they play differently, the story is just so well fleshed out in this that it feels like you're just actually playing a Zelda game. It doesn't feel like
there's so much
the story was tacked on to this
outside of Tears of the Kingdom to make Tears of the Kingdom happen, right? Like, because the entire game of Tears of the Kingdom, you're unlocking bits of memories and things like that to help lead up to why you're here in this moment right now. So, like, yeah, there's like a whole game right there, and it's actually really cool that they decided to put it in, or give us the ability to play the story through, because I think that was my most enjoyable part of Tears of the Kingdom, was finding the history and those things. Like I said, like the Inca drawing lines with the dragon lines, right? The dragon stones, like those things. Like that was like my main focus for a very long time in that game, was just getting those things. Like, I liked seeing the background over like why we're here, not necessarily the hunting down all the shrines or anything like that, right? Like, that I wanted more story in Tears of the Kingdom. So hearing that this game now has even more lore and builds on that, like that, I don't know, it seems like a really great companion piece to the Tears of the Kingdom game.
Yeah, I did not like think the story would be told as well as it is in this game. Like, I went into it expecting the story would just feel tacked on, but it really doesn't. I mean, I can see why some people might say, oh, the combat does get a little repetitive, because it kind of does, but I think learning this story by actually playing it rather than those little cutscenes in Tears of the Kingdom, it just is nice. It's nice seeing the story actually told, and it's a fun game to play. I don't know, I'm really liking it. And I'm saying that as someone who, like, hasn't played a Warriors game in a while, but someone that did get kind of bored of them. This one has enough in it to kind of keep you interested. And I don't know, it's kind of cool changing your weapons and maxing them and other little stats you can do. So I'm excited. I know I'm gonna finish it and see through it, because it's been a while since I played Tears of the Kingdom, so I kind of forgot some parts of it, but playing this, it's like a good little refresher. And I like the the characters that are in this game that either you didn't see too much in Tears of the Kingdom or not at all. So it's definitely one I want to see through. And I don't know, it just feels good to play the Switch too. Like, I feel like when the Switch was out, like I did play games, but I'd barely play games on it because I was just more on my PC and the PlayStation. And I play the one Mario game or the one like first party game and then not touch it for months. And then recently it's been like I've been primarily playing games on it. Like the Pocopia update with the bubbly basin where you go underwater. It's amazing. It's crazy how much that adds
now?
to.
You don't just drown.
You can go underwater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can go underwater, and it's like the new area is just, it's huge. There's so many secret things to find, and it's just cool. I don't know, like, after I finished Pocopia, I played for quite a bit more. I would say probably like another 40 hours building stuff, and then spending time with my kid playing it. And then we both kind of just were like, we kind of, as much as I wanted to build in it, I'm like, I have other games to play. So I put it down. And then this expansion came out and my wife was playing it. And I was like, I kind of want to play, but I'm also like, in the middle of Xenoblade 2 and now this game. But I was like, I'll try it out. And I'm like, man, I just want to keep building. Because it's like, like there's so much trash under the water. So it's fun to just clean that up. And then the buildings are like somewhat intact. So it's pretty easy to just repair them and make it look pretty.
And does it add new Pokemon for this update or no?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it adds like 40 new Pokemon or so. Like it's a lot.
Okay.
So I think now the grand total is like 366 Pokemon, maybe.
Like, see,
so
I like this formula much better than the Animal Crossing formula. I don't know. Like with Animal Crossing, it's you do your dailies, right? You have your turnip, stock market. You can maybe sell some bugs every once in a while. But like, there's something nice about this Pocopia idea where it's like, well, here's an update and here's new Pokemon and like here's 40 new ones where you need to figure out their habitats and make them and make these new buildings and go explore this, right? Like, I feel like if I had a Switch, like I would be all over that, right? And I would be much more inclined to come in during those updates rather than like the Animal Crossing updates where it's like it's fall now, everything's brown, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like like this actually has some weight or like something to do, which I think is a lot of fun.
That's the thing. It's like Animal Crossing. As someone who played a lot of it, it reached the point where there was not a whole lot you could do in a full day unless you were willing to change time. But even then, it just reached a point where there was just not enough stuff. And I know that eventually, like, they added Rooster and they added, like, a little more stuff to the game. But it was never enough. And then that DLC that came out where you can make a home or, like, a room for visiting animals, that was awesome. But that was it. So a game like Pocopia where you're just kind of given an endless sandbox with what you can build, it's pretty awesome. I think that, still so far, this is one of my favorite games of the year just because it's so easy to pick up and play. And it's pretty in-depth and there's just a lot to it.
And you can terraform anywhere,
I'm excited.
Right? It's not just like a small island like in Animal Crossing. Yeah, so that's much nicer.
And they give you a lot of areas, right? Like you have your main story areas. I think it's, I'm trying to remember now, shit. I think it's like 5 areas. And then you get the DLC. And then you also get a Cloud Island, which, that would be for if people are visiting, they would come there. But that's a whole blank slate for you to just build on. So you have like so many places you can build. There are limitations of like how many of one thing, but they recently increased it. So like now you can have, more lighting and stuff like that. And it's just, I don't know, it's just an amazing game. Like it's surprising how good it's done. And I truly wonder if there'll be another Animal Crossing, maybe in 5 years. I don't know. Like, I feel like these two games are like just different enough where, you could be like, well, they could still improve Animal Crossing, but think back to all the previous games that they've had, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like New Leaf and stuff. And those games had some difference to them, but when in a world where you have, the creativity of the world around you with Pocopia, or the creativity of the social aspect in Tamagotchi life,
Mm-hmm.
there's not much need for Animal Crossing anymore. Sadly, I like Animal Crossing. I think it's really cute. I have a lot of memories of the old games, but
It's true though.
I don't know.
Like they found
Tamagotchi is an amazing game too.
Yeah, they took the two things that people liked more from that concept of Animal Crossing and made full games out of them, and they're much more interesting because it's actually something to look forward to coming in, checking in on, right? Whereas, like,
Yeah.
with the Animal Crossing, it's like, oh, my flowers are done, cool. Like, I don't know, there wasn't really much to really keep me going back consistently every day, or more than 5 minutes even at a time, right? Like, sometimes I would just log in and be like, oh, let me get yelled at by what's her name, because I haven't logged on in a while, and then now I'm gonna log off again, right? Like, it's just kind of one of those where it's just weird to play this game now. But but no, I do really like Tamagotchi Life. Like, that one actually has some sort of interesting mechanic behind it, the social mechanic that's really ingrained in the entirety of it all. And then the Pokemon one is just like, I mean, it's Pokemon, right? Like, it gives you, it's Pokemon, but then it's also like Minecrafty Pokemon world where you get full reign to then create and build your own world, but then share that with people too, which is super exciting. So yeah, I don't know. Animal Crossing has to do some really big changes if they want to keep up with that, or they could just pivot, right? Like, company just focusing on like more Pokemon style ones, more updates, things like that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, if Pokemon's already
I
doing
think
it
that's
better,
what they
like,
should do.
then there's a problem, right?
I think, like, going forward, because I felt like with the Animal Crossing, they could have just made that like an evergreen game and just kept adding to it. Like, I literally thought that's what they were going to do with it. But I think they didn't expect it to blow up the way it did during the pandemic. And then they kind of scrambled of what to do, but then they never really figured out what they needed to do. And so it just kind of sat there stagnant. And there's a big community that still plays it.
Oh, yeah.
But, a good chunk of them have moved on to Pocopia and Tamagotchi because they fulfill two different needs that are pretty similar. And yeah, I love Pocopia. Like, as someone who loved Dragon Quest Builders 1 and 2, like, this game is a pretty good evolution of it. And I'm excited to, just keep playing more of it. I don't know. I love the freedom in it.
Yeah.
And, speaking of that kind of game, I started playing this game with my wife called Go Go Town. And it's on Steam, it's on Switch. And basically it's kind of like this, you're thrust into this little like town. And they're like, okay, you need to improve it, right? So you can build shops, you can build other stuff, you can create like an industry, right? With like mining, woods, stuff like that, but you can do it all co-op. And, the co-op is pretty generous with what you can do. Like, it's pretty much like, oh, they have the same power as you with what they can do.
That's
and
nice.
it's a fun little game. Like, it does get chaotic and hectic because shops do require some of the items. So you're running between, like, the refineries and there. And eventually you get like couriers and stuff that can transfer between the two. But we haven't reached that part yet. And we're about maybe 5 hours into it. And it's enjoyable. I like it a lot. I've been wanting a co-op kind of town builder because not many exist. And this game does it well. It's a nice little hectic thing that time flies by when you play it because there's just so much going on, and the world map, or the map that you're on, is pretty big, so you can find little secrets and stuff. And that's a cute little game. I don't know. I'm digging it. I'll definitely be playing more of it.
I always find it interesting what games like this do when they bring in the aspect of co-op, or like Animal Crossing does it too, right? Where like they limit what the other player can do. Where it's like, wouldn't it be much more helpful sometimes if they could just kind of do whatever? Like, I get it that they're probably trying to make it so it's like, oh, people don't go to your island and destroy your stuff. But like, I don't know. It would be nice if they could help too, because that's usually why you end up playing together. It's not just to be like, hey, look at my cool thing. Okay, now let's go back to our own private islands and then we'll meet back up. Right? Like, I don't know. There's something about being able to share those aspects together.
Yeah, being able to actually build and do stuff. I mean, that's why Minecraft does as well as it does.
Yeah.
Like it's just the collaborative experience. And, the last game I want to talk about is also a very collaborative experience. I have not beaten this game, but I am like on the third main tower or whatever. I guess that's what you can call it. But Big Walk. And made from the people that did Untitled Goose Game. And it's a cooperative kind of puzzle exploration game. And I've been playing this with my buddy, so we're doing the 2-player part of it. Because I know there's different amounts of players that can play, and it changes the puzzles according to how many people are playing. And this game, it's like one of the few games I've played in a recent time where I'm like excited to go back to it. Where it's like all week I'll be like, oh man, I can't wait to play it, because I only really can play it on the weekends because, schedules line up and stuff like that. But this game is just so special. Like, the puzzles aren't super difficult. Like, they take a little bit of thinking so far. I don't know how crazy it gets later on. But, what you do is it's a proximity chat kind of game. So you can walk far away from your buddy and they won't hear you, but you're doing puzzles together, and you're doing them to free gourds, which then you put these gourds into little boxes, which then give you a key, and then you use that key to kind of advance. And
I always looked at them as
going
like
through these
the
different
towers.
towers.
They look like the little guy's heads.
Yeah, they kind of do look like that, huh? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But so we've done 2 of those, and now we're on the third one, like halfway through it. And we've just been having fun, getting lost, exploring. Like, I truly loved finding the music places in the game, because you'll just be walking and you start hearing music and you're like, what the hell is that? And then you see these little speaker boxes placed everywhere and you're like, oh, what is this? And then you see a little radio. And if you click a button, it like turns that on, and then it'll also have like a little portable radio you can take with you. And you can hold this, or if you have a backpack, you can attach it, so then you have music as you're walking. And, the more of those you find, the more of those you can add to your radio station, and then you can switch between them. So there's that cute little aspect. And then there's just other different goodies you can do. There's the walkie-talkie, there's like a laser pointer, binoculars, and some of the puzzles have been really unique. The one that we were just working on, which was more confusing than I thought, was there was a room that had 2 coordinates on it, and then you had this little thing, like a little TV that you take with you that shows you the coordinates you're on. Now, I thought I had taken a picture of the 2 chord one. Not me thinking about it. I was looking at the picture I took of the previous place that had chords. So when I was walking, I was like, okay, I'm at this place in the picture. I'm pressing the button. I'm telling my friend, hey, like, I'm pressing the button. Do you see the gourd? And he's like, no. And I was like, what the hell? Then I found out, oh, that was the chords in the first area. So like, he would have to go all the way back to that first area, which it's not far, maybe like 5 minutes away, but to get the gourd. the chords on this one that we're doing is like so far back, we haven't been to that area yet, probably. So it's interesting how you get these, puzzles for things that you need to do probably later on or go on a very big walk to get to it. But yeah, I don't know. I love it. It's just, I love puzzle games. I don't really play too many of these, friend slop kind of games that often, but like this one just feels a little different. It almost feels like it's a little more like high class than, say Peak or other stuff like that.
So
but
is that the
I'm loving this
genre
game.
now? Is that what it's being called? Friend slop.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say it, but it's kind of derogative,
right, because it's one of the.
But it's kind of what everyone calls it because there's just so much of it.
There is,
like I remember, Schedule 1 was kind of like that. Peak, repo, content warning. I think Peak is done really well though for it. Like that one's really cool.
Yeah, I feel like Peak and Big Walk
warning was kind of interesting.
Like kind of taking them in a different direction. Like
yes,
like we're seeing the elevation of this stuff, right? Like even Repo starting to get bigger updates now too. So, but
I think Lethal Company was like, because Lethal Company was one of the first big ones to do this. I think that one was done really well too for being somewhat minimal.
Yeah,
with like what was in it, and it's kind of interesting to see how this little like side genre has kind of grown. It's not like it's grown a whole lot, but it's very slow because, a lot of people can just make junk somewhat and put it out there. And it's like maybe one or two differences, but it's the same thing. But then you get, a game like Big Walk or Peak or something that kind of changes it, or RB There Yet, stuff like that, or Mecha Chameleon, like something that's ingenious for it and different, and it's special. And it's kind of cool to see that genre change. I'm not a hater to it. I know there's a lot of people that hate that genre, but I think it's interesting. I think it's one of the more fun genres to see grow and expand.
Yeah.
Right? Like I remember people looked at battle royales and were like, I wonder how much they're going to change this. And like it never really changed too much.
They always stay the same. You can't really adjust that concept too much without it being right. Like a battle royale is a battle royale.
Yeah. Yeah. But with these games, it's like, I don't know. Like it's just kind of awesome to see where in just a short amount of time, like the differences are coming out for it.
Yeah, agreed. Sweet. Well, all right. I think that's going to do it for us this week. Hope you guys have enjoyed this little conversation here, and you get to hear my wonderful voice on the way out. As we talked about some amazing little games here. Thank you, Chris, so much for leading today's episode. Really appreciate you because I'm dying. But anyway. We got this. And it was a really good conversation, man. Like, it was awesome. Like, those are definitely some games that I've been wanting to check out and think about and all that good stuff. Like, Big Walk looks amazing. It looks really trippy and just fun. I kind of, like, we're getting a lot of more of those, like, puzzle-type games and co-op-y things, and it's just nice to be able to share something so light and simple with a buddy, right? Like, there are more and more games coming out that are, like, just simple enough to bring in a non-gamer, right? So it's cool to see that the barriers of entry are lowering for these kind of things. But yeah, anyway, we'll talk to you guys next week with some more games and all that good stuff, and hopefully my voice as well. We'll be back, but until then, bye for now.